When I first started studying this topic of religious violence, it was in the context of India. I had lived in India for a number of years. Part of the world that has been in my blood ever since graduate school, and among a community in North India called the Sikhs. The Sikhs are these people with the long hair and beards, in most cases, unshaven, wearing turbans. Very lively, delightful, energetic, wonderful, spirited people. I always think of the Sikhs as kind of the Californians of India. And that's a compliment in my frame of reference. You know, when they like you, they love you. If they don't like you, watch out. But, you know, there's a kind of love of life about the Sikhs that I find wonderful. And it was with a kind of personal as well as intellectual dismay that I saw this hideous spiral of violence in the 1980s between the Sikh community and the Indian government that culminated with the attack by Indira Gandhi on the Golden Temple of the Sikhs in Amritsar, and then a retaliation later in that same year on her own life where her Sikh bodyguards turned and shot her down in cold blood and assassinated the great Prime Minister, the daughter of Nehru. Extraordinary thing. And then the violence against the Sikhs in return, the savagery continued. What was going on? I took some time out to go to India. I studied the sermons and the teachings of Sant Janal Singh Bhindranwale. What I expected to find was a wily politician who was using religious language to his own ends. What I expected to find was the politicization of religion, where religion, the innocent, the kind of peaceful vision of human life had been captured by wily politicians for their own purpose. So I listened to these speeches, and I talked with many of the followers of Bhindranwale. And what I discovered was really quite something different. Bhindranwale was really kind of a local preacher, a village preacher who'd come and taken up shop in the Damdani Taxil, a religious ashram, a religious center, and then to the Golden Temple. And when he spoke, this was no glossy, sophisticated, smooth-talking salesman. He was a kind of, in some ways, rambling, mumbling village preacher, but with an extraordinary conviction and a depth of concern. And he'd look out over the crowd, mostly young men, Sikh men, who had trimmed their beards and who were wearing slick pants and pointy shoes. And he'd look at them and say, "You have failed. You have lost the faith of the gurus and the forefathers, and you've turned away from your heritage and everything's important, and you've lost the faith. You don't know there's a war going on in this world, a battle between good and evil and right and wrong, between religion and irreligion, and you've lost it. You're not taking up arms, but you can." Now, some did in fact take up arms. They could. I met with some of these young men. I remember one time in Delhi at one of the main gurdwaras, I arranged to meet with some of the revolutionaries, and it was in a dark room, and they came in, they filed in one by one. Faces were hidden, were covered, so their identities would not be disclosed until they got into the room, and then they took their bandanas off, and my heart just sank because there they are, these 19-year-old kids. They could have been any of the students that I had when I taught at Punjab University, just fresh, full of life. They should be out playing soccer or sports. They should be contesting for some kind of athletic trophy. But there they were, fighting, revolutionaries, with guns, and they spoke with a kind of passion. I knew that their lives were on the line. And most of them, maybe all of them that I talked with, would not live out that year. They said, "You could ask anything you want to. Anything you want." They speak pretty good English. I spoke some Hindi, some Punjabi. And I said, "Just why?" They knew what I meant. And they couldn't answer. They said, "Well, there are times," he said, that you have to fight. When your faith is on the line, and you have to fight." You know, in a funny way, I knew exactly what they meant. And it's not that I've been a Sikh revolutionary myself. It's not that I've been any kind of revolutionary, although Lord knows I've been through, the battles of the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement. In many cases, it was because of my own religiosity, my own commitments to religion that made me feel that there were great issues that one should be called upon to engage in and struggle in. So in a sense, I understood what they meant, but there even something